Now, Ryanair doesn't normally do anything quietly, but yesterday it quietly posted on its website that its package holidays business, Ryanair Travel, would no longer be in a position to take bookings. That's just 2 years after its launch in December 2016. Eoghan Corry of Travel Extra joins us on the line. Eoghan, why do you believe this notice has gone up on the Ryanair website?
Good morning, Vincent. Quiet is the word, because there was a lot of fanfare when this was launched. As they say, a little statement on the website and no responses to questions. The response I did get is for commercial reasons. But we do know historically that Ryanair, when things don't work, they're very, very quick to exit, and they're very, very quick to discard what looked like a brilliant idea 2 years ago.
Now, it is important to specify that they also say on the website that all existing bookings made through Ryanair Travel will be honoured. But Ryanair has long had an antagonistic, aggressive relationship with travel agencies, and I suppose with tour operators as well, Eoghan. And they believe that there were nice fat margins to be made in that business, which is why I suppose Ryanair Travel was set up in the first place.
Some of the listeners will remember the statements at the time by Ryanair that they would come into the holiday market, the package holiday business. And this is, Vincent, what happens when the 2x2, the two parents, the two kids go off to Spain for the bucket and spade. It's an old traditional holiday market. They said they'd go into this market and sell it for 10% less than what everybody else was doing. Pretty simple. The maths are very straightforward. That's about the margin that tour operators and travel agents, and it's a bit complex, but that's what the total would be. They would be able to reinvest the margin, then go in, sell it cheaper than everyone else, and pretty much change the game, the way they changed point-to-point airline sales all those years ago. It is a lot more complex. Ryanair covered that. They're not very good at complexity. And I suspect, and we're looking at this from a distance, that they ran into trouble with the suppliers, the sort of the products that they were able to deliver for a quick, clean sale on their website was a little bit more complex than they're used to. They changed the first supplier after 6 months. I'd imagine it was pretty arduous with the second one, and yesterday they pulled out altogether, as you said.
Now, I mean, Ryanair has a massive online platform, not just selling flights, obviously, but car hire and all sorts of ancillary services. But this particular service that was being sold to Ryanair Travel was effectively a consolidated package holiday. That you'd get your air travel, you'd obviously get your transfer from the airport, you'd get your hotel rooms, and they had linked up, as you say, they've had trouble with relationship partners in the past, but they had linked up with a number of Spanish providers in that regard.
Pretty much, I would imagine the way this worked, and we got a smell of it in the run-up to the big collapse in 2016 of low-cost beds. It stuck the Irish travel trade for about €4 million. It stuck the rest of Europe for a lot more. They were looking for a Ryanair contract. They had been talking about it, saying if they got this together, this would be the salvation of the company. Interestingly enough, people who were connected, the wife of Paul Evans, who headed up low cost, was the first supplier. The Spanish group, I would imagine, the way Ryanair work is they say, we'll do you a favour by bringing this huge business, and you're absolutely right. Their online platform would be bigger than a lot of the intermediaries, the big travel wholesalers. Ryanair on their own, when you look at for instance, the statistics that come out every now and again in the press releases about 1 billion visits to websites, and their passenger numbers of 130 million, second biggest airline in Europe. They were able to bring a lot of muscle to the negotiating table. On the other side, they probably made a lot of demands of the suppliers. That is the history of Ryanair when it comes to the other platforms that you're talking about, the beds platform, the car hire and transfers, other things they've got into, is that the contracts tend to be pretty arduous on the supplier side. Very often they break down. Very often there's legal action. There's a change of supplier along the way. I would imagine they pushed the package holiday one in much the same way. They're very, very aggressive. That's their history. And I think the complexity of package holidays was not suited to the sort of products that Ryanair needed for their point of sale on the website.
I suppose it's hard to blame the Irish Travel Agency Association and its Chief Executive, Pat Dawson, for coming out and more or less saying, we told you so.
There's a little bit of I told you so, and it's also quite interesting that from the package holiday business is very, very heavily regulated. They have said for many, many years that Ryanair are effectively a travel agent. They're not operating on the same sort of level playing field that travel agents do. If you're a travel agent in Ireland, you have to have bonded in cash a large amount of your business in advance of the year. In the case of failures, some of the listeners will remember way back to the 80s when we had a series of failures like Dogan and Bray Travel and big companies like that. So they were saying that Ryanair was operating with an unfair advantage. They were effectively selling holidays without having to go through the same regulatory process. The history of that is that while Ryanair was not regulated, the suppliers were, and they did have a bond for a company called Ryanair Schools. Interestingly enough, they allowed that to lapse last October. That might have been a little bit of an indication that Ryanair were getting tired of this and going back to what they're good at, which is selling point-to-point flights.
A much more straightforward business. Eoghan Corry, as always, thanks for joining us. That's Eoghan Corry of Travel Extra there. Coming up, Ian Quigley of Investec on markets. Stay tuned.